everyone, and welcome to this explainer on mastering the project-based pricing model. Whether you're on the client side looking to hire an agency, or you're actually running one yourself, pricing is just one of those foundational pillars we absolutely have to get right. So today, we're going to really break down how this fixed price model actually works out in the wild, why it matters so much, and exactly how to execute it without losing your mind.
Here is our game plan for today. We'll start with what project-based pricing actually is. Then we'll cover the big pros and cons, how to calculate costs, the step-by-step workflow, and finally, choosing the right model. It's kind of funny, actually. Just like a solid project-based contract, we're defining exactly what our scope is going to cover right here, before we even begin.
Section 1. What is project-based pricing? Understanding the fixed price model.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. If you've been around the business block a few times, you've definitely heard this term thrown around. But what does it actually mean in practice? Well, unlike hourly billing where you're constantly sweating over a running meter, project-based pricing gives us one single fixed price for a clearly defined project. Everything from the exact scope to the final budget is literally locked in from day one, way before a single piece of work ever begins.
Honestly, the best way to think about this is just like building a house. Imagine walking up to a contractor. You wouldn't just let them start pouring a concrete foundation and cross your fingers that the final bill isn't a total shock, right? No way. You agree on the blueprints, the materials, and the total cost before the construction ever starts. And as long as those original plans don't change, that final price stays exactly the same.
Now, it turns out this model isn't a magic bullet for absolutely everything. Because it relies so heavily on clear, upfront goals, it really thrives in specific scenarios. We're talking website redesigns, SEO audits, branding projects, content packages, landing pages, and email campaigns. You probably notice a theme there, right? They all have a highly predictable beginning, middle, and end.
Moving right along to Section 2, the big pros and cons, balancing certainty and flexibility. When we look at why agencies and clients actually choose to go this route, the biggest draw, hands down, is predictable budgeting. Clients know exactly how much they're going to spend, and agencies love it too, because they can allocate resources super efficiently and just focus on delivering great results, rather than, watching a clock and obsessively tracking billable hours. Plus, it's really cool because if an experienced team gets faster and improves their workflow, their profit margin goes up without the client's cost changing. It's a win-win. On the flip side though, hourly billing or retainers are usually much better for ongoing work, like long-term SEO or continuous content production, where the requirements are constantly evolving and you really need that flexibility.
So understanding that rigidity brings us to the absolute biggest threat to this entire model, scope creep. Scope creep happens when new requests just kind of sneak in after the work is already started, but nobody bothers to adjust the budget or the timeline. Going back to our house metaphor, it's exactly like deciding you want a swimming pool in the backyard after the concrete is completely poured and your budget is tapped out. Projects can turn unprofitable in a heartbeat this way, and that's exactly why having a highly detailed scope of work and a very formal change request process is absolutely crucial.
Section 3. How to calculate costs. The math behind the fixed price.
Now you might be wondering, how do agencies actually arrive at that single fixed number? Spoiler alert, they don't just pull it out of thin air. It starts with a really deep discovery phase. Before any math even happens, the agency and the client have to sit down and completely align on their goals. From there, they carefully define the scope, set up clear milestones, establish firm limits on revisions, and finally, agree on the payment terms. If you skip this foundational communication, whatever numbers you calculate later won't mean a thing.
Once everyone is on the same page and nodding their heads, the agency starts calculating. They look at a few highly specific variables. They estimate the raw effort for each individual task, factor in the level of expertise required, add in software costs and overhead, and then weigh the overall project risk and complexity. They also have to seriously consider deadlines and, quite frankly, client response times, because a slow client can easily drag a one-month project out for a whole quarter. And remember, when agencies estimate these tasks, they almost always bake in a reasonable buffer. Because let's be real, in any major project, something unexpected is definitely going to pop up.
Section 4. The step-by-step workflow and actually executing the plan. Let's shift gears into the execution phase and see how all this builds into a successful project. Once that price is locked in tight, a structured workflow is what keeps the train on the tracks. It kicks off with, you guessed it, a kickoff meeting to get everyone aligned, which immediately leads into a final, formal scope confirmation. From there, careful planning gives way to the actual production phase. And here's an interesting part.
Combining the review and revision stages into one tight, controlled loop is exactly what stops those endless feedback cycles from happening. That's what ultimately gets us to the final delivery. Throughout all these interconnected steps, clear, continuous communication is your best defense against misunderstandings.
Section 5. Choosing the right model and knowing exactly when to lock in that scope.
So, the million-dollar question is, when should you actually pull the trigger on a fixed-price model? Well, it's a phenomenal option under a few very specific conditions. You need a rigidly defined scope, a very clear end date, and deliverables that you can actually measure. Oh, and transparent communication is an absolute must. The source material actually points out how agencies like JetDigitalPro use this model specifically when a project can be clearly mapped out right from the jump. If things are likely to change or the requirements are still a bit murky, you're much better off looking at a more flexible hourly or retainer setup.
When you boil this whole explainer down, it really all comes back to one golden rule. Success comes down to one thing: define the work clearly before it begins. Whether you're an agency leader setting your own pricing strategy, or you're a client choosing a partner for your next big product launch, upfront clarity is absolutely your best friend. A well-scoped project just naturally leads to better budgeting, way smoother collaboration, and vastly better outcomes for everyone involved.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with a question to chew on as you map out your upcoming work. Is your next big project truly ready for a fixed scope? Before you start your next major build, take a step back, look closely at your blueprints, and ask yourself if everything is truly defined. Getting that right from day one literally makes all the difference in the world. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.